The final thing that we need to do is to be able to create a render which shows off what our model should look like if we were to make it out of certain materials. So basically we're going to change to render, and we can see here that it's displaying it in perspective mode, and I'm going to close off this one so that we can see there. That's what it's basically looking like at the moment. I can actually change the appearance by looking up the appearance over here. So press A for appearance, and there it appears. So currently in this design, I'm only using a steel satin, and the steel satin is not desirable for this. And what I like to do when I'm laser coating something, especially wood, is I like to represent the fact that it's got the black on it. So let's just go with the plastic, and we're going to choose opaque. This is not a very nice menu to use. It can be hard to find stuff at times because it moves up and down like this. So you've got to grab this little handle here, and we're using the black matte plastic. And we're going to basically apply this to every object that we can see here in the whole thing, just to make sure that the whole thing turns black, which makes it very hard to see. The cogs, just drag it onto their material there. And I'm going to move that around so I can see what I'm doing. Pretty sure I've got everything applied there. No, still got that one applied. It's pretty difficult to see when you're making everything black. So basically I've now got a black matte finish, which is not going to look great. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and find some wood. So I need to open up the wood panel, and often with wood you'll need to download the finish. So there's a little button over here, for example. You can see I haven't ever used that cherry. I don't like the look of it, but I've used the pine glossy. If I wanted to use pine glossy, I would use that one there by downloading it. I like to use the bamboo semi-gloss because it is a nice sort of easy to finish. But before I use that, I need to apply it just to faces. I'm not applying it to the whole body anymore, just to the face. So where we've got our bamboo light semi-gloss, I'm now going to drag it out and apply it to the top surface there. So you can see it's going to look like a piece of wood that's been laser cut. And we're going to drag it to that surface there, and drag it to the outside of this surface here. Drag it to the outside of the cog, and to the outside of, or the inside of that one. It's very hard to get the inside of this cog, so what we can do is we can turn that body off for the time being. Just turn the uprights off, and now we can get to the inside of this one as well. And of course you need to turn around and look at it from the other side and go, yep, got to turn this one on and do that one, and that one, and that one. And let's just turn our uprights back on and realize that we've got to do the backs of those as well. That one there, and that one there. That now looks a lot better in terms of the presentation, and I can now see what I'm going to be looking at. Final thing is that those ones there, they're not going to be black. They're going to be like a hardwood, a dark hardwood. So I'm going to use a mahogany, but I'm going to apply it to the whole thing. So I need to go back up here and use bodies and components, and my mahogany semi-gloss just to that one there, and just to that one there. So now I've got that in place. That's what I'm going to look like. So I just press the home button here. And now there are two ways I can render this. The first is to do an in-canvas render, which some people seem to prefer because it means you can see it happen. If I press the in-canvas render button, you'll see it goes all pixelated all of a sudden. And then it comes back in and slowly fixes itself. And if you want it to final render, you need to drag this little icon here. Grab yourself a cup of coffee and then come back, and then you'll have your render all done. The other way to render, I'm going to hit stop on that, is to press render here. And if you press render here and you're going to take it to final and press render, what it does is it saves the document, it sends it off to somebody else's computer here, and then you'll come back, depending on how long it takes. It could take 5 minutes, it could take 20 minutes, it could take 30 minutes. you basically have to then download that by double clicking on it. You'll see that it's finished. So I can't show you that now. I'm going to have to wait for a bit before I can show you that. So I've gone and had a cup of coffee and I've come back, and both my in-canvas render and my render on the cloud have basically worked. And they're slightly different angles. Now I need to be careful with my in-canvas render. If I change anything at this point, like if I drag around on that, it'll have to start rendering again. So before I do anything, I'm going to hit save to capture the image. Current document window size is this. I'm going to press on OK, and I'm going to save this file to my computer. I've got a folder called Gear Systems somewhere in there. And I'm just going to hit save. So that's going to save that. Now, as I said, if I do this again, it's actually going to start the whole render process over again. So you don't want to move it too much while you're doing this. And it does. It took 300 odd seconds. So I'm going to hit stop on that. I don't want it to keep going. Down here, however, I've got a render that's saved in the cloud. So double click on that one, and it's got a render that's been saved in the cloud. It'll show me a picture of that render, and I can now just basically press on the download, and I can download it by my choice. I can have a transparent background if I want. So I'm going to download it as a PNG here, and save that PNG, and it's going to save it to my drive, my Gear Systems, to my 2:1, and it's going to give me a date stamp on it, so I'm going to hit save on that as well. So I now have those two files ready and raring to go in my render gallery. It's now time to put them into a nice presentation so that I can demonstrate my understanding to the best of my ability. In order to get better results, you need to actually adapt your model so that it looks a little bit more like, so you can see the gears working, no sharp corners, that sort of thing. And it looks a little bit more attractive and visually pleasing.